Hello, welcome to Anything Relevant. I'd like to go over one of my past videos and basically do a better job on it. It was very unprepared. This time I wrote some stuff. So let me dig back into this, and this is expressions that I like, that I live by, that affect the way that I problem solve, get over things that are bothering me, so I can look at it without as much emotions. Emotions are important, but it's good to have understanding that you're having emotional reactions to life. It's good to know that you are. It's good to know which ones, what emotions you are having. These are all very good. They help you identify what it is that is affecting you deep down inside. Think of it like kelp, seaweed. You see it on the surface, and if you keep hacking off the surface, it'll keep growing back. Grass, you just chop the tops off, the grass will grow back. So I like to look at things and try to get to the rock that the seaweed and the kelp is growing from. That's the source. And that source is what's manifesting when someone talks or does something or doesn't do something or doesn't talk. Whatever the situation that it is that is causing you to have one of these reactions is something that needs to be examined. So think of any emotional reaction you have like the surface of the ocean with the seaweed. You need to dive into yourself and find out why you're having this type of reaction. So this video is going to be a redo of my expressions and sayings that I like, and I'm going to go over some of the stuff I already have, and there's going to be some new stuff. So here we go. Your quality will be met wherever you shall go. This is like a loose quote from the movie Kingdom of Heaven. It's a line where Orlando Bloom has the opportunity to take out someone that was standing within someone that was trying to kill him. So when he defended himself, he chose not to kill the unarmed other person. And by not doing that, the person that had their life saved, they told him, your quality will be recognized wherever you go. Thank you. So that's from that movie, and it had a really big impact on me, as well as what worth is a man that doesn't make his world a better place. Meaning, not every second of every day you got to be a superhero, but opportunities drift past you every day, and there's an opportunity to make the world a better place just with a simple action, a hug. You're beautiful. Don't listen to other people. You're doing fine. Don't listen to other people. Believe in yourself. You're doing great. Don't listen to those inner voices that are cutting you down. Whatever it is that you're going to do to make the world a better place, there's opportunities every day to do it. So these are two from that movie that I learned that stuck with me. I still have them in my head rolling around, and I try to apply them wherever and whenever I can. I'm human, so I do fail, but I do try. That leads me to another one. That whole Yoda, there is no try, do or do not. Well, I disagree. I think you should have that mentality when you do something. Just, you're doing it. You're not trying, you're doing it. And if you fail, you gave your best efforts. Like in the 4 Agreement video, always do your best. Some days your best is just not enough. Well, with Yoda, there is no try, there's just do. Well, this is where I disagree. I like to do, and if I fail, try and try again. There's something to say about relentlessness and tenacity where you're not taking no for an option. There's another word that's involved in this type of mentality. It's called inevitability. To be inevitable. I'm going to do this. It might not be my first time. It might not be my 10th time. Heck, Lord of the Rings, before it was even made into a movie, got told no by 12 production houses in Hollywood. 12 companies that make movies went, nah, I don't think so. Thanks anyway, though. By the 13th time, Wingnut Productions said yes. So, do. And if you fail, try and try again. It's another one that I like. I'd rather be wrong so I can find out what right is. I've already went over this. The world likes to correct. There is a lot of people out there with a healthy or unhealthy ego that need to be right. You can prey off of that human nature as a benefit for yourself to learn. To just do, and if you fail, then there's an opportunity for someone to be like, hey, this is how you do that. Hey, you shouldn't do it like that. You should do it like this. There's going to be someone that's going to want to help you and point it out, whether they're there to help you or they're there to pump up themselves. End result is that you learn something new. Don't care how the wrapping comes to you. Just care what's inside, which is the truth. Whether it's coming from a toxic person or a sweetheart, you're going to find out the truth. So just be open to it. You know, you got Nietzsche's "What does not kill you only makes you stronger." Remember hearing Henry Rollins talk about what does not kill you only makes you stronger or meaner. That's also true. Just because you survive something doesn't mean you become wise and more compassionate. Sometimes you survive something that makes you hate after. You let a lot of hate and anger into your heart because you had to survive something you didn't feel like you had to. It was unnecessary. It was because of the thoughtlessness of another human being. It was the greed or shortcomings of another human being that's causing you to survive something, and now you hate them for it. So what does not kill you will only make you stronger if you can find the wisdom in the lesson, the humility in the lesson. Because if you don't find those, you're going to survive. You're just going to get meaner, though. So that's another aspect of that saying that I keep in my mind and why I like it. There's all roads lead to Rome. That was the expression, I believe. I like to say there are many roads to Rome, which tells me whenever I'm doing something and I fail, it's there's always another road. I can stop what I'm doing and go find another path to my end goal, because inevitability. I like to inevitably do what I set my mind to do. I don't like hitting walls and then giving up. I have given up in the past a couple of times. Some of these sayings weren't in my head then, or the circumstances, or the excuses, or the list goes on. Know the big picture. The details will reveal themselves, or learn those details. But if you know the big picture first, it'll make all those details make more sense. This is like doing a puzzle and doing the border first. A lot of people do that. Nothing wrong with it. It's very effective. It's very efficient. So that's how that kind of correlates with this, is know the big picture. Because all those details are either going to come to you because you see the big picture, or someone is going to share another detail that you missed. But when you have the big picture, it allows compassion to come in. It allows understanding. It allows a lot of things to come in that would affect your decision making. It's going to alter it because you see the big picture. You're able to put yourself aside sometimes. But sometimes you see the big picture and you're like, no, I still got to work on me. It's still going to be about me. It'll allow you to know when. It'll allow you to minimize the mistakes in choosing yourself when you should have chose the big picture, or vice versa. Knowing the big picture is hugely advantageous. So let those details come to you once you see that big picture. It's easy to say because it's true. This is something I tell people when I compliment them or when I recognize something worthy of mention. And they say, oh, why do you say that? Or why are you bringing that up? Or whatever it is that's not thank you, I appreciate you saying that. Is that it's easy to say because it's true. It's a statement that makes it you can't dispute it. There's no dispute here. The truth is the truth. The fact is the fact. This is how I see it. I hope you understand that. It's one of the most solid ways to really get into someone else's head what you've just recognized. I think. I might be wrong. But then again, hope for the best and be aware of the worst. Hope for the best, expect the worst. Don't expect the worst. Just be aware of it. Because if you start expecting, then you live in a really dark world. And it's really nasty. And you become cynical. And the shortcomings of others and the failure of others really start to weigh more and more on you. And you withdraw from the world. It's a whole bad thing. But if you're just aware of what the worst can be by allowing yourself to let your mind wander on all the possibilities. You don't have to think of every possibility, but just enough for you to see what things you should look out for. This also helps you finding the big picture. The big picture can also help with this. It's very symbiotic. This one scared me so much, still scares me, not as much as it used to. But I understood that I was using this my whole life, but just not using it everywhere. This one is pile failure high, enough to learn and to climb your way to success. If you talk to successful people, there's very few flawless, undefeated champions. And we think that's what a champion is. They're all flawless. They're all undefeated. You got the guy that made the light bulb, got turned down 999 times. No, not a good idea. We're not going to patent that. Doesn't work. Can't get funding for it. The list goes on. Point being is that he kept going. And then the 1,000th invention was a light bulb. So yeah, pile failure high enough to climb to success. Plus the other thing is that if you just keep failing, I tell you this, you really defang failure. You defang it. It's not as scary. It becomes almost familiar. And because of that, you get to learn. You get to see everything that you did wrong. And then you start tightening up your form, tightening up your actions, tightening up your reactions. All these things that get tidied up from that much knowledge will lead you to success. If you if you listen to a lot of successful people, that's one thing I've heard a lot from athletes to you name it. The amount of failure that they experience to get to where they are far exceeds those game-breaking moments. It's just those game-breaking moments are exactly what it is. It's everyone to recognize, but it's a failure that made them. Don't be afraid of failure. It still scares me. I'm trying not to be. Join me on that one. Speak up if you want to be heard, or closed mouths don't get fed. You have a voice, you have a mind, and you have a heart. Use them. Speak up. Speak up for yourself. If you're not going to defend yourself and stand up for yourself and protect your ground, then why should anyone else? What value do you have if you don't? If you defend your thoughts, defend your feelings, and defend your ground with honor and respect and all that good stuff, with politeness and consideration, but you will be seen as someone worthy to defend as well. You got to see yourself as valuable. If you see yourself as valuable, others will also see it. You got to practice it though. Just can't preach. Words are cheap. Life will always knock you down, so start acting first. This is like countering, like if you're talking about boxing or MMA. The world is going to put the pressure on you. It's going to move forward. It's going to eat everything you give it, and it's going to start hitting you. So pivot to the right, pivot to the left, cut angles, strike first. Life's not going to take its time. Life won't drag its feet. It's going to come after you. It's going to get after it. So why not do the same back? Why not give life a dose of its own lessons? Strike first. You hear opportunities, say yes. You hear a challenge, dust up your hands, get ready to shoulder your way in. This is something that has tremendously helped me. When reacting, do something new. Show me something new. I've already seen what you do all the time. I've seen every knee-jerk reaction that you got. Surprise me. Surprise yourself. Do something new. Someone's irritating you, offending you, disregarding you, making you feel unappreciated, making you feel like you don't matter, that you don't even register. And you got your classic reaction to all these things. Don't do those. Those haven't gotten you anywhere. Don't do them anymore. They have failed you. Time to do something new. When you're upset, you're mad, you're hurt, you're scared, react in a new way. Try something new. Not illegal, like I say, with compassion and honor and all that. Things that put other people in mind when you react. Do something new. You'll surprise yourself and the people around you. Feel your emotions. Don't act on them. I mentioned in the past, if you have a car, your consciousness should be driving. Your instincts and your subconscious should be in your passenger seat. In your back seat, in the back seat, should be your emotions. So feel them. Let them see everything so you can have a proper formed emotion. But when you have them, like I was telling you with the kelp and the seaweed, trace it down to the rock before you open up your mouth. Don't act on your emotions. They'll betray you. They'll embarrass you. They'll dig you into a hole. They're not rational and they're not meant to be. Emotions are fuel. They're fuel for your logical, reasonable mind to go forward. Don't act on them. Rein in your id. Id, ego. I'm not a psychologist, so I'm going to butcher these words, but your id is like the bad side of your ego. It's the primal, self-destructive survivor that doesn't know the details. Doesn't want to know the details. All it knows is that you're not happy. So it's going to dig in and defend the host. Your ego, you have to have an ego. You have to have an ego. Egos are not evil and they're not bad. An unhealthy one, well, it's unhealthy. There you go. But your id is like your ego when it's like run amok and you've let it drive. Like your subconscious is in the driver's seat and your consciousness is in the passenger seat, and you don't know what the heck's going on. Or even worse yet, your emotions are in the passenger seat and your consciousness in the back seat looking at the OS2 and front seat going, what the heck's going on? So your id is going to want to protect you, but it's not going to recognize loyalty. It's not going to recognize family members. It's not going to recognize anything. The only thing, that bad side, it cares about you. And it brutally carries out self-defense. It's not thinking about tomorrow. It's not thinking that this is a business partner and you should cut them out of your life, but your id will. It doesn't care. So you can't let that run you. You got to rein that in and understand that when you want to say, well, leave, never come back, you're fired, never come back, these things are just making you feel better. In the long run, it's just made more work, made unhealthy relationship with the person that you're trying to cut out. Maybe you don't cut them out. Now you got to live with that outburst, though. But like I've seen this at work with people, the way that they freak out with people. I've seen it with friends. I've seen it with family. I've also had people talk to me about these type of outbursts. A lot of people running around not knowing that they're even in a car, so to speak, the way that I reference it, like with the who sits where, the consciousness, subconscious, and the emotions. They don't even think about that. They're not even aware of that. They just think they are just one being, which we all are to a degree, but I like to separate it. I like to separate it because it keeps me very aware of how I'm acting and reacting to the world around me. So you got to rein in your ego, make it healthy. You got to love yourself, save yourself, because who else will? I've kind of mentioned this in an earlier one, but this is still worth mentioning. You got to love yourself. You got to save yourself, because no one else will. No one else is gonna. No one else has the time. It's like when you're in a plane and it's and those air masks come down. They tell you to put it on your face first, even if you have kids. If you're a mother or father, put it on you first so you don't pass out, so you can put it on your kid's face. You got to save yourself to save the world. If everyone saved themselves, what would we be talking about when it comes to pollution, to corruption, to conflict? What would be the conversation of the world if everyone saved themselves, or were in the process of saving themselves? It'd be a different world. A little bit of pain goes a long way. Be familiar. Pain is scary. No one wants it. No one wants to put their hand down and have someone else punch it. No one else wants someone to walk up to them and pinch their cheek really hard or slap them. No one wants to have their hair pulled, facial or irregular hair. Point being is pain is something that a lot of us have dedicated our whole lives to avoid, to run away. But there's nothing on this planet that isn't created without pain. New life? You think childbirth is painless? No. Do you think working out to get big muscles is painless? No. Everything involves pain. You think some of these paintings and songs that we hear and look at, you think they came painless? Conflict-free? Are you kidding me? No. Pain is the cornerstone ingredient for growth, success, for expression, for reality, for just transparency. If you're going to show that pain in an expressive way, it's going to invoke that feeling in other people. It brings us together. To avoid pain is to avoid to be human. It's avoid to be an earthling. You think it's painless to be a lion? Painless to be a deer? Painless to be a shark? No. Pain is everywhere. And there is something out there that can wreck your day. If you don't have any familiarity with pain, you're going to be running your whole life. Okay. This is one of my... Get good at something. Get a hobby. Get good at something and see your progress. Prove to yourself that you can grow. Prove to yourself that you are good at something. Get a hobby and get good at it. And see that you get good at it. That also has a little bit of pain in there too. And then I'll end it with this one. History does not repeat itself. Humans do. When you go through history and you see these parallel moments, this is just like that. No, there's a lot of historical differences to... If you're going to broad stroke it, sure, history repeats itself. I don't believe history repeats itself. I think humanity repeats itself. I think a human being, when they get to a certain point of power, wealth, recognition, and influence, if your character isn't developed, if you haven't learned enough, if you haven't made pain a familiar friend, if you haven't watched yourself get good at something, if you haven't done a majority of the list of things that I've mentioned, if you haven't done them, and then you get in that position of power, you're going to start making a lot of mistakes. And people will see that's how history repeats itself. No, it's a human being that's repeating it. Oh, I have 4 sons, and I'm a king, and I got a big empire, and it's too big, so I'm going to divide it into 4, but I'm going to name one of my kids king. The other 3 have to serve him. Do you know how many times it's happened in history? I'm going to divide up the land so my whole family can run it. Do you know how many times? So many times. And it's never worked out. Not once. It's destroyed every single kingdom and empire that's ever had a ruler do that. And the only thing that's ever brought it back is a couple generations later, someone unites it again. That's if you're lucky, in history speaking, like in the scope of empires and kingdoms. A lot of kingdoms, once they start breaking apart, they're done. They are done. So this is what I mean by humanity is what is the repeat. They're the common denominator every single time. And the biggest common denominator is people completely unfit and unready for that level. And what do? Because they're unfit, they do what they understand, which is very basic stuff. And that basic stuff is what repeats. The more complicated and intelligent and experienced that you are, the less human repeats you're going to commit. And these are the people that are extraordinary in history. These are the people that make the history books. These are the people that we still talk about to this day. So if you look at your own history, don't repeat your human mistakes from yesteryear. Do something new. And thank you for dropping by. This is yet another video, and I hope to have more soon. Thanks for dropping by again, and have a good day. Bye-bye.